Greetings to you all, and I welcome you to this broadcast. Hopefully, you're not out partying, preparing to go to Vibes Cartel, and forgetting completely that which has befallen our nation. I'm wearing black tonight not because it represents mourning. I'm not mourning. But this hue, black is not a color. This hue represents strength, represents power. It represents resilience. It speaks to courage. As you join me, please indicate whether you hear me clearly and you also see me clearly. Adrianna, 1 month, 1 mission. One month, 1 mission. Adrianna Younge. To know how, it's loud and clear, great, thank you. To know how disastrous our situation is as a people. To know how low our world can be. 1 month. And a finale. A man who's paid to be president. The first president who has been defined or described as being installed. 1 month. For the past since 11-year-old Adrianna was murdered and put into a pool, or the pool, at the Doubleday Hotel in Tushen on the east bank of Essequibo. And 1 month later, a finale continues to refuse to have international crime solving entities like the FBI, like the CIA. Well, that'd be for Central Intelligence. That's US really deep intelligence stuff. But the FBI, those of the Royal Canadian Mounted Branch, Scotland Yard of England, or any other highly advanced crime-solving entity, he refuses to let them come to this country and conduct an investigation into the murder of this child. That is our reality. 1 month later, and Adrianna, her body, is yet to be examined by another forensic pathologist. There is yet to be a single criminologist. And maybe those words are too long for your finale to pronounce, hence he cannot even read what I'm saying. But he can hear. A criminologist is one who is versed or masters or studied criminology, which speaks to crime solving. A finale, who should be advised by the Attorney General, the one who's paid to be Attorney General, Anil Nandlal. And you, Anil, cannot tell the Irfan, or advise Irfan, I should say, that there should be a criminologist to investigate the murder of this child. 1 month later, and I'm still yet to have 5 hours, 4 hours of sleep at night. Because Adrianna is my daughter. That's how I see that child. And that is why I have said to you all that I will go to the end of this earth and universe for you all. Whoever has to be protected cannot be any small fry. Or fry is actually a small fish, they call them in Jamaica. Or in general, little fish are called fry. It cannot be any small person. It cannot be a fry among you all. The extent to which you all are going to protect whoever did this to this girl, it cannot be some small person. And call me a terrorist. You went so far as to observe an assistant commissioner lying to this girl's mother and father, lying to these people to say that he has evidence in his phone to show that Adrianna went in a car. And instead of charging him with the perversion of justice or seeking to obstruct the course of justice, you have an assistant commissioner relaxing at home on what is called administrative leave, which is actually leave that is sanctioned. You lose no pay, you lose nothing, like what May Thomas is on, May, who was sanctioned by the USA with the Mohammeds, and who Barrett said you can't do business with these people because you'll be sanctioned, but yet they could keep paying her salary. That same woman. That's what you call admin leave. And you put Mandel on administrative leave, he loses nothing. You have footage. Mandel has not been charged for anything. You said that 2 officers were fired. Now, let me say to you, 1 month later, I still do not know. No Guyanese, apart from your little circle, maybe know who these people are. So can you imagine people who would be working with the Guyana police force? They fired and you don't know? So they could still be doing business as if they're police people then. No police who stood and watched a building, a room on fire without raising any alarm has been fired or charged. No police who stood before a building. Because all Freddie Kissoon could remember 1 month later is that it's possible that Mandel and others were standing there to protect the building while people are still inside having a ball in. They sought to protect the building from people. And Freddie didn't remember that the same Mandel said to the girl's mother that he has footage of Adrianna leaving in a car to go with a man, causing that girl's father to go to Parfait or wherever it was, the Freedom area, to find this Orlando creature that never existed. I will go to the end of the earth for y'all. One month has passed since Guyanese and others across the world sat and saw how unkind, unconscionable, unthoughtful, uncaring, and unlawful y'all could be. 1 month ago, Last night at 10:30, Guyanese critic Mikel Rodriguez walked around the pool 1 month ago. 1 month ago. He walked around the pool and said this.
Management. I said, we're going out with the cameras. There's a female washroom here. There's a bar here. The management explained to me that when you come and if you're going to use the pool, and as you can see, you see the pool here, clear. Like when the family said they went in the pool and check, everybody went in the pool and check. Normally, you ain't got to check if there's a body in this pool. You could see it because the pool is clear. Right? So, obviously the young lady, the 11-year-old who has gone missing from this place is not in this pool. Right? So I walking around, I look in, I talk to management before I talk to the mother and the father to make sure I have an inclusive story. Everybody knows what's going on, why it's going on and so on. Right? So you got the pool here.
This boy said that. He showed us and the world that it was obvious that nobody was in the pool. And he was right. For once in his life, Mikel Rodriguez was actually right. Absolutely right. Irrefutably right, meaning you cannot prove him wrong in any way. He was absolutely correct, spot on. The water is clear. The pool is clear. There's nobody in here. He was right. Then the next day, after critics said that the pool is clear, nobody's inside. The next day,
them police girl in this pool, boy. The fucking girl went in there. We went in there just now, boy. What the fuck, boy? That's why they didn't want nobody come in the place. Them didn't want nobody come in the place. What? What?
he finally saw that. Anil Nandlal saw that. Para Jagdeo saw that. Mikel Rodriguez saw that. Freddie Kissoon definitely saw that. And 1 month later, these people want to suggest to us that Adrianna, her situation is baggage. It's an unnecessary alarm. I'm wearing black because I'm not mourning. This hue is not a color. This hue speaks to strength. It speaks to courage. It speaks to power. I will not forget you all. And I will not forget Adrianna. Call me a terrorist. Label me whatever you want. You will answer the Guyanese people at some point. I don't care how long it takes. You will answer to the people of this country. And let us see if the 5 appellate court judges you appointed and the other 2 will abide by the law of this country. Because I know you're on appeal. Appeal all you want. You will answer. You'll have to give an account for why Anil Nandlal, you have chosen to disregard what in law is called witness statements. in the context that people said what they saw. In any court of law, people are in jail in this country right now, Anil, because of witness statements. They simply said what they saw. That's it. They weren't present. They didn't do the act. They said this is what they saw. And people are in jail for murder because of a witness statement. A man chopped his wife. She died. A witness said, I saw. The man approached her with a cutlass. He started chopping her. She was screaming and he chopped her. That man is in jail facing 20-something years because of a witness statement. A young man, other young men, many young women, old women, so many people said that they saw, they searched the pool. That girl was not in the pool. And y'all, instead of saying, let us have the FBI, because we can't trust the police. Since Mandel lied, since others stood around and did nothing, since so many people have sought to circumvent and circumnavigate to go around the truth, we don't want anyone of y'all investigating this. Instead of doing that, 1 month has passed, and you brought a retiree, a retired man from the Royal Canadian Mounted Branch, retired. He came in and he went out. And you, Irfan Ali, couldn't sit this time. Remember what you did? I'll show the world what you did in a minute. Unlike what you did with what you said, the pathologist report, you didn't tell us what he reported to you about. Did he report about anything? You paid him our money, not your money. This did not come from Freedom House. Nobody went to Freedom House or PP's account, took some money out of your safe or chest or safe, whatever you keep it in, or your vault. Nobody went there. This man was paid from our taxpayers' dollars. The 3 pathologists were paid from our money. We're paying for it. And you refuse to do what we're saying. But you could take our money and do whatever you want with it to appease you. He came here and he has said nothing, unlike what you did. You said you brought 3 pathologists, right? And the family doctor was there watching. Now, this is less than a month within the madness, the criminal conduct, the lies, the deception that you all are trying your best to make us just, it's a month. And normally, can you just make noise and it'll go away? One month. 1 month ago, fires were lit. People were enraged because an 11-year-old girl, our daughter, was found in the pool. She was put into the pool 1 month ago. 1 month ago, Priya showed up, touching her chest. 1 month ago. And then she found time to show up when the girl was dead, when Adrianna was found murdered. That's when Priya found time to show up in her constituency. Irfan never showed up. And he is the constituent representative of Region 3. Never came anywhere. Because that wasn't his concern. Why would he go to this little girl drowned dead in some pool? She didn't drown anywhere. That's the impression people want to give. 1 month ago, we saw a scientific miracle, as Irfan wants us to believe, as Bart wants us to believe, as Anil wants us to believe. Somebody's saying, well, and he isn't sure what he wants us to believe, and I'll get to that. But 1 month ago, we saw what to be considered a scientific miracle. And I'll show it to you again. This must haunt y'all until you die. This right here, watch. One month ago. Let me add that image to you for y'all, for your sake. Give me a second. One month ago, you witnessed a miracle. According to the wicked PPP, People's Pathetic Party, we saw them trying to convince us that somebody can drown in this same pool where critics saw no one. And if you see here in the day, you could see her feet, more than 5 feet down. Good? 1 month ago, they tried to convince us that somebody could drown for 20 hours. And this is how they'll surface. In a pool where there's no current, there's no rip tide, there's no rip current. And they want to convince us that 1 month ago we saw a miracle, a scientific miracle. You saw Dr. Coleman was with me here because I was not the medical doctor, but I spoke to you from what I know from science and common sense. I consulted with persons from the Marines. I tell you, I got something coming for you all, you won't believe it. Those who train individuals to enter water, they see people die every so often in water. They know exactly what happens. And when they looked at these images, it said, this person never drowned. It is impossible for the person to drown in there and surface within 20 hours, where there's no current to push the person up. There's no circling water to push the person up. There's no rip current, as you call it. Nothing, no current. It's a pool. There's no swelling of the person's subcutaneous tissue, which would be under the skin, bloating of the body, creating a balloon effect for her to float. Nothing. Worst, she would have had to drown standing. Because when you drown, you don't change position. So 1 month ago, we saw what the PP wants us to believe is a miracle, where somebody stood right by this rail you see here, stood right there and drowned. She was in the shallow part of the pool, got out of the pool, and nobody saw her go into the deep part, according to their reasoning. But she was in there for 20 hours. So 1 month ago, the pathetic party wants us to believe that we saw a miracle where somebody was standing there and critics couldn't see her standing. She wasn't laying because you don't change position when you're down in the pool. This is the miracle. And the People's Pathetic Party want us to be so stupid, like they're stupid supporters, that you must repeat this. You must repeat this nonsense to show you're faithful to them. You must repeat this garbage to show them that you are on their side. You must repeat what makes no sense. Because if you don't repeat it, then you wouldn't get a contract. You wouldn't get 2 and 3, 4 contracts. Your brother, you, your cousin, the dog, the parrot wouldn't get any contract. You would not have it because contracts is where they disperse some monies. You wouldn't get these things. You get no underhand back-end deals. One month, one mission. The mission for us is for justice to be served for this girl. Y'all are not going to escape. Those who did it and those who try to cover it up, you shall not escape under any circumstance. And the other side has a mission to cover it up at all cost. For whom? Who is so big that y'all would risk losing an election over Adrianna? Who is so important in the chain of criminals that you would cause your own party to lose an election over this situation? 1 month ago, there was unity as has never been seen before in this country. 1 month ago, there was hope that Guyanese finally get it, where we all said, those who have sense, even y'all butt-licking supporters, couldn't open their mouth because they were stunned, they were choked, they were asphyxiated, they were strangled by the sight of how criminal you can actually be as a party. They actually witnessed their handlers, their leaders, their rulers, their masters, their financiers. They witnessed that these people could be so cruel. And your supporters, who you deem to be Indo-Guyanese for the greater part, began to speak publicly for the first time. Unlike any other situation, supporters came out and said, I supported the PPP, quote unquote, but I would never vote for y'all. I would not vote for y'all this time. Y'all gone too far. When you heard those words spoken by people who said, I know, one said, I know that I will get into trouble. Listen to the language for saying, even in reference to this child being murdered and him saying this is ridiculous. He said he will get into trouble for saying that. Others said, I know that you all would attack me. I know that you're going to hate me. I know there'll be backlash for this. I know what will come out of what I said. But they still stood to say that this is injustice. This is murder. And y'all saw unity that was threatening. You saw unity that spelled the end of your hope for elections of 2025. You saw that within people who supported your stealing, your crookery, your criminal behaviors, your in reference to financial impropriety, they had humanness to say that this has gone too far. That's what they said. They actually said this right here is the limit. This is a little girl. Some said it's a little picnic. No, man. I gone too far with this. I do too much now. They saw and they connected, not us. They connected the dots being cliche. They connected Adrianna with your usual criminal behavior. And they realized that this was connected to your party through the one who owned the hotel. They said, he's one of your friends. That's how they put it. They saw connection between an assistant commissioner standing at the door with other senior ranks and junior ranks protecting a structure and a business rather than searching for a child, Adrianna. And your supporters said, this is the limit. You witnessed ethnic unity on a public platform where people said that we are against y'all. 1 month ago, we saw your plan that you feel would work. And that plan that you all feel would work included a French term, agent provocateur, not agent, agent, because it's a French term. And it speaks to people being put into groups to stir up trouble, acting as though they're protesting when they're not protesting. They were there to do things like looting and so on, trigger things, and blame the other side. I'm still waiting, Irfan Ali, to see the people who got beaten. 1 month has passed and you can't name one yet. Show us who would have been beaten. You said that you felt so much pain interacting with people who were beaten. And so show us these people. Show me 10 people who were beaten when people were protesting because of Adrianna. Show us, please. 1 month ago. Interestingly, people said, a family, the Juman family of Sadiq said, hey, we remember the pain. Our young brother, our son, had a similar experience where pathologists ruled that he dove into the pool and hit his head. And due to the advanced state of decomposition, they couldn't rule right. Same thing. And the family said, who would have thought that 12 years later, thereabout, this pain would come back through Adrianna's situation. I am waiting for Irfan Ali to show the nation the people who were beaten, or more than that. I'm waiting for the people who were beaten to come forward to say we were beaten by protesters. Come and show yourselves. 1 month ago, we saw police telling individuals who were caught red-handed in a Chinese store to put your head down. That's the first time I say again. We saw so many miracles out of Adrianna's situation. This is the first time in the nation's history that policemen who would have caught thieves in a shop would say to them, put your head down. Nobody must see your face. No one must see your face. This is another miracle. Witness protection. Thief protection. Because you want to play the game of saying that African descendants, you say PNC, had people there to beat Indo-Guyanese. And Indo-Guyanese turned to you, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. The first time I heard them say, no, we're not stupid. This is the many first out of this beautiful young lady's life. For the first time, Indo-Guyanese, who you label your supporters, said to y'all, we see through this. This is not going to work for us. Young ones began to say, oh, auntie, uncle, we see your racist behavior. We see where y'all going with this. And it's not going to work this time. It wouldn't work for us this time because that's gone. We see where you're going with this. And they insisted on trying to play what is called the race card. Divide to rule. Divide to conquer. And it wouldn't work. We saw a child laying beside the pool. 1 month ago, we saw a police force with a criminal investigative department, criminal CID, headed by Blanham, the crime chief. And we saw the CID having no interest in surrounding the body of an 11-year-old girl who mysteriously showed up in the pool, surrounding it to say, hold on, this child went missing yesterday. She's now in this pool. Move. Surround her. We saw no kits for preliminary samples to be taken from her body. We saw no one at the pool dipping water, putting it into vessels to secure it. We saw no interest in saying that this is a crime scene and it must be treated as such, or a potential crime scene. We saw no police officer on duty taking photographs on the spot to see, okay, this is what we saw. There were 2 wet footprints by the pool. We saw footprints by a pool when nobody was yet in the pool. 1 month. We saw footprints here. So it was a sunny day, thankfully so. It was not raining, thankfully so. Nobody was watering the plants, thankfully so. But we see footprints right in the area where Adrianna, where her body would have been. Where did they come from? I am not a criminal investigator, but I have common sense. If the crowds were kept outside and only policemen were allowed inside, and their footprints outside of the pool, where did they come from? Nobody checked for wet feet on that day. You had no interest. 1 month ago, criminal investigators did not send for a doctor, which should be the case, to say there's someone laying here, we suspect the person is dead. From all indication, she's dead. But come, we want you to take samples from this body, swabs. We see an object in her nostril. Tell us what it is. Is it cotton wool? If it is, take it out, put it in another container, preserve it for evidence, preserve it for testing. None of that. None of that. None of that. We saw 1 month ago a total neglect for any interest in investigating in the very moment. Another miracle. We saw people having public spirited citizens. I think I noticed Simona Brooms, leader of the ALP. She was on a video I'm seeing trying to get people to cover Adrianna, to move Adrianna and so on, and to pick up our baby. She was whisked away, not in a hearse, as though she were a criminal who was killed at the back of some vehicle. That's how she was carried down the road, with no dignity. Our 11-year-old baby. One month ago, I stood in the parking lot of Parkview Hotel, went there to help my brother with his vehicle. And I stood there in his presence, publicly in the open. And I wept bitterly. I wept because of what I wanted to do to y'all who allowed this to happen. I wept because, I tell you already, when I was a boy, and I couldn't do things to people that I wanted to do, when my mother or my father stopped me, I would cry my heart out. Not because I was sad, because I was angry that I didn't get to do what I wanted to do to them. I revisited my boyhood. I revisited my childhood. And I stood as a 51-year-old man crying in the public because I didn't get to do to y'all what I wanted to do. Other young men burned tires, burned debris because they didn't want to touch a policeman. They didn't want to harm any policeman. They burned an object called a tire, made of rubber and steel and wire. They burned wood with no feelings, lifeless objects. No life in them. They burned objects. And y'all call them terrorists. But you never called those who held that child in the hotel terrorists. You never called those who lied to try to move the parents away. You didn't call them terrorists. You never called those who would end up in a situation where we are seeing on a dry day, sunny day, at 10 o'clock in the day, sun is out, the morning is hot, but yet, miraculously, water marks are there because somebody was in water. Right by the ladder where Adrianna is floating. Now let me just present you with another medical fact to make those wicked people call me a terrorist. A human body sinks when water fills cavities within it because water is heavy. It's heavier than air. Air is a gas, a mixture of gases, as a matter of fact. Air is a mixture of gases. Scientifically speaking, because I'm trained unlike Priya Manik Chand and Anil Nandlal, Bharat Jagdeo, Irfan Ali, I am trained to teach science at the high school level up to grade 12, up to first year in college. Dunces. So I can tell you that air is a mixture of gases. And this mixture of gases is much lighter, meaning it has less mass than water. Therefore, the only condition under which Adrianna Younge can float in this manner is if there is air trapped in her lungs. May I inform you that if her stomach did not contain large amounts of water, which you swallow because you're gulping for air, since your nostril, your passage, your trachea and so on, bronchioles and alveoli, and remember Nurse King, right? So you'll end up in this position floating. Guess why? Ta-da! Because there's still air in the body. When you drown, water fills the body and gets heavy and it sinks. Since there's no fight, you can't fight anymore. Water fills your lungs, water fills the stomach. Air is lighter than water. So if water replaces air, the body becomes weighed down by the water and you sink. Adrianna was floating within 24 hours. Her tummy wasn't swollen because air was still in her lung. Call me a terrorist. And you call scientists terrorists. Label all scientists who were trained with taxpayers' dollars terrorists. Label us who were trained in Potter College of Education to teach secondary school science. I'm a grade 1, class 1 secondary school, high school science teacher. You label me a terrorist. I'm one who graduated from the University of Guyana with honors, by the way, in environmental sciences. So I had to do biology, chemistry at university level up to my 4th year. So label me a terrorist for knowing science. A human body would not float if it's filled with water in terms of the stomach and the lungs. If a body has air trapped in it, in the lungs and in the stomach, it will float. Call me a terrorist. Arrest me for perverting the course of justice as you did with Nurse Young. Arrest me for obstructing the course of justice. What course? There was no course for justice because you never once said that you're investigating a homicide. So how am I perverting the course of justice if you're not investigating anything called homicide? Have you forgotten Anil Nandlal? That Irfan said this?
Today, as I said, was an important day in evaluating the circumstances and the death of Adrianna. And I just want to briefly share with you what was shared with the police representative and shared with me. The forensic pathologists, as you know, as Frank said, were brief, and they started the work sometime around 1:20 p.m. That's when completing the procedure, the forensic pathologists rule out signs of physical and sexual trauma on Ms. Younge's body. After careful deliberation, the team concluded that Ms. Younge died as a result of drowning. Ms. Younge's relatives were briefed following the examination and informed of the medical cause of death. Due to the state of the decomposition of Ms. Young's body, the pathologists were unable to provide an exact time of death. The relatives were also informed that the pathologists ruled out theories of forcible drowning or any other means of killing, followed by disposal of the body in water. So that was what
Why, Irfan? I'll always ask you this, even in a court of law. Why? What made your throat so dry? The pathologist ruled out forcible drowning. How do you rule out forcible drowning without investigating? How do you rule out forcible drowning without there being a criminologist? How do you do that? How do you rule out? Common sense, Irfan, would make you rule in that nobody who drowns would be floating within 20 hours or in 20 hours. Why? Because you do not float if your body is full of water. It takes gases from decomposition or rotting to fill the inside of the body. Your skin, of course, is so densely packed with molecules that air wouldn't get out of your skin. So the body begins to bloat. And when that happens, you float up after 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours, depending on how hot the place is and so on. This girl, this beautiful little young lady, was floating, standing. That only happens when someone has air in their cavity, the thoracic midsection, abdominal, as a matter of fact, thoracic cavity. You, Irfan, seem to forget 1 month ago that Clifton Hicken never said a single word to this public. The commissioner of police, retired he should be, fired he must be, never once came to the public, invited the media, and said to us, Irfan, we're conducting a potential homicide. He didn't do that. He did not give himself a chance to clear his throat even once publicly. Robeson Ben was non-existent as the minister responsible for home affairs. He was nowhere to be found. And what you all expect is that Guyanese get tired. So Vibes Cartel tonight, your party, you wind up, light up the phone, wherever else it is, and predominantly African descendants will be there. And they're gone. Life goes on. Not this time. Not this time. Adrianna's name must be mentioned every day. We must continue to stand up, not just talk. Stand up and speak up every single day. Do not let a day go by without us bringing this matter to the floor, to the fore, to the people. Do not get weary a young lady has not yet been buried or cremated, whatever the family wants to do, they are still holding out for a chance for this creature to give them an opportunity to be examined, for a body to be examined by someone who would not come to Irfan to say, according to what he's saying, that they ruled out that her body was disposed of in the pool. What does that mean, Irfan? What do they mean when they said that her body was not disposed of? What do you mean by that? You know what amazes me? You know what amazes me? They're men. Men don't push children out, although the sodomites may want to suggest that men could do that and make you all say yes, yes, just to get votes. But men have no uterus. No, Tani, the investigator is gone and has said nothing to the people. Men do not have a womb. So no man can say he has felt the pain of delivering a baby. He's felt the burden of change of carrying a baby for 9 months. You know what amazes me? Y'all in the PPP, y'all women who, because you have opportunities to get contracts, you defend these murdering, wicked people. Y'all, there's a special place in hell for y'all. Forget the men. You mothers, because you get contracts in the PPP and you earn millions of dollars of our taxpayers' money, your taxpayers' dollars. They give you a little portion of it. They don't give you much. But because you could buy a Gucci bag, a Louis Vuitton bag, a Michael Kors watch, you can wear some red bottoms. Now you can drive a little Audi or Mercedes or something, or a Toyota that you never had, a Premio. Y'all would sit back and shut your mouths. You would sit back and you would say nothing. At the sight of this, you are women, you have wombs. Some men must say amoeba or something. You don't have uterus. You can never have a uterus. You can never have a womb. Never can you have a womb. And you could see this. And you go silent just to defend your money. You're a whore. That's what you are. You are nothing more than a full-blown whore. And even whores got more conscience than y'all. Because whoredom speaks to your going after money at the expense of what you stand for. That's what a whore is. She doesn't want to give her body, but she gives us the business. You would silence your conscience. Try to shut it away. Because you get 1 or 2 contracts, you are a stinking woman. All y'all. Your children have a price. Because they do to your child, you'll shut your mouth to get contracts too. Even your offspring have a price. Y'all, you'd sell your mother if you can't get money. What makes you think that your child is exempted? So if another pervert sees your pretty little baby girl and he decides, oh, I want that, because after all, people get off in this country when they connect to the PP. That's how they process. So, okay, so he rapes your child and he kills your child and throws her in the pool. You would shut him out. Because if you talk, you wouldn't get any more contract. Is that the kind of mentality you'll have in the PPP? You are dumb, dark dogs. Wicked people. Your mind black with evil. Dark, not black. One month, and I observe y'all, you know. That's why I'm talking tonight. I observe y'all carefully for a whole month. And I said I wait for 1 month to see how y'all would behave. And some of you, I know, you have said, not even on your Facebook page of you said, I'm sorry. Not even I'm sorry. Not even, oh God. Not even, oh. Not even, oh gee. Nothing. Not even this girl picture you could show on your page because you want to protect the contract. You're a whore. That's what you are. You are a whore by spirit and nature. There's a price for you. And any man with the right money could get you at all costs, man or woman, because there's a price on your head. I learned through my father, Errol Sherman London. I learned through him. And I thank Yahweh every day for the lesson he taught me. If ever you see people can pay you to do something wrong, anything in life that people can pay you, give you money to do wrong or accept wrong, believe me, that person controls you. I learned that from my father. That's why he never took any bribe. Nobody can, in Guy Mine or Limerick, could ever say they pay him for anything. He taught me that. Do not accept money or favors for upholding wrongdoing. The day you do that, the day that you do that, you are controlled by whoever paid you. And they could get you to do anything after for free because after all, they have secret that they give you money to do something. Y'all, boy, I have, oh, Yahweh knows. I am waiting patiently for some of y'all. Pray to all the gods, you know, I tell you all already. Pray honestly. Pray. One month. And for the sake of money, you watch your leader lie and he wouldn't say anything because you want to protect money. Yahweh classifies people as whores. So don't tell me that I'm saying bad words. It's a truth. The Bible, the scripture, the holy book speaks to whoredom. Deal with him. Deal with the God of heaven for talking about people who are whores. Y'all, what this girl, what this young lady floating in a pool, and the love of money made you lose common sense. You should already say, oh my God, people who drown don't float like that unless their body is swollen. It takes days. Common sense. You don't drown standing up. Common sense. Y'all, boy, oh, Lord help me. Listen to this one. I want y'all hear this one. Hear this one here. Listen.
What is very, very, very much funny, right? For some of you who keep saying that PPP sacrifice Adrianna Younge, sacrifice the poor God angel, right? For win this year election. Some of y'all forget something. It was some of y'all forget, or some of y'all mightn't even know about this when we say. Sometimes there's going to be news to some of y'all. Y'all remember in 2015, when the opposition during the election, y'all tell me who they sacrifice. Y'all tell me who they sacrifice when they win the election. Courtney win. Mr. Courtney, them sacrifice. Who don't ace dropping and airing these things? I'm sorry for y'all. But me I like ace drop good. And I put my two together. And I don't come with things with me sure. But me people can't tell me this is the. Right? I believe every bit of it. Says y'all is a loser now. Because y'all think I could do the same to Adrianna and win this year election. But y'all lie. Y'all lie. Y'all really lie. Y'all really lie. To the family of Courtney, y'all hear what I'm saying? Ask the opposition who kill your child. Ask the opposition who kill you. They fully well gone answer for y'all. I think I can't get justice. There went in there no justice up to now. Eh? Their sacrifice was lovely to them because again, they tried doing it again this year for 2025 election. But boo for y'all. Boo! Nah.
The police need to arrest. If you hold Nurse King for terrorism, you better hold this fool for worse than terrorism. If you hold Nurse King, you better hold her. For her sake, you better hold her. And there's a trait with those who support the PPP. And that trait bears with it, just a critic, they lack the ability to speak properly and sensibly. She couldn't say Courtney Wing, and she loves to eavesdrop. The term is eave because the window has an eave. So what you used to do is you go under the eave to listen to what people are saying. That's why it's called eavesdropping, not eavesdrop. I want someone to investigate whether this person gets contracts in the PPP. And I wouldn't doubt that they do. Somebody investigate the name of this creature and whether she gets contracts from the PPP. And let me know, please. Francis, I hope you're watching, brother, because I know you can get these things done. We need to know. And Hicken, Blanham, she better be arrested, because don't tell me that a nurse who you all say lied is a terrorist. But this fool is saying that the opposition killed Adrianna, could get away with it, and killed Crummy Wing, because she has to know who did it. I'll post it for you all. You'll see your name in a minute. Once I get off, I'll send her name to you all. After 1 month, people are crawling out of their graves. Zombies. You know what they come to say? Protect our money. That's what they're saying. That's the bottom line. In all this is about protect our bread. Remember, they got to eat the food. Protect our money at all cost. We don't care about our conscience. The PPP has some people whose mother had diarrhea. And when she looked back in the toilet, there they were. Their birth canal is the end of the digestive system. Most of the people who support Barajaglia and y'all, your birth canal is the end of the digestive system, the digestive tract. And worst of all, you came out on a day when there was diarrhea in a latrine pit. Lying is now an act of terror in Guyana, according to what you said about Nurse King. Her tongue is just as heavy as her conscience. Burdened, can't speak the truth. But that's the mentality 1 month later. You make a video, you say something that's just ridiculous, like Freddie and them. Oh, wow, yeah, boy, Master don't like us because if he say these things, then the big boys can say, yeah, boy, you got her back. What are you covering? Who are you protecting? 1 month has passed. Would we still stand in protest? What would you do? Let's not forget that when the madness started, finally they said they'll bring 3 independent pathologists. Independent pathologists. And they're going to examine Adrianna's body forensically. Examine in great detail to see if they can determine the cause of death and the manner in which she died. one who's called the family doctor, who was in the room before they got to the room. He was deemed to be the family doctor. Listen to him.
Dr. Paul, myself, attorney at law Darren Wade, Sir Brian, Amicia, Amika, the grandmother, the whole family. We had a meeting with the three forensic pathologists that the government provided for the family. Now, the moment I walked into that meeting, like I continue to share my views that before even going to the meeting, I knew, like many others, that this young lady was drowned, right? Somebody drowned her, or cause of death was drowning. We knew this.
Caleb, McGrogan, somebody said that from the time he walked into the meeting, before, he knew that she drowned. How? You heard Dr. Culmer. You saw Dr. Culmer's perplexed appearance. He could not believe what he was hearing. He was dumbfounded to hear a doctor, a specialist, an endocrinologist dealing with the endocrine system. He couldn't believe that somebody would say that before they went to do or observe a forensic pathology autopsy, three of them, well, before, we all agree, this girl drowned. That's it. We agreed. But just tell us how she drowned. And then Irfan said that the three stooges ruled out forcible drowning because Caleb asked, we know she drowned. Just tell us if somebody drowned her. Ali said, oh, they ruled that out. Y'all see where this is going? This fella said, let me play it for y'all again.
Dr. Paul, myself, attorney at law Darren Wade, Sir Brian, Amicia, Amika, the grandmother, the whole family. We had a meeting with the three forensic pathologists that the government provided for the family. Now, the moment I walked into that meeting, like I continue to share my views that before even going to the meeting, I knew, like many others, that this young lady was drowned, right? Somebody drowned her, or cause of death was drowning. We knew this. The moment the pathologists, they were talking, I interrupted them. Again, the family members can attest to this. Mr. Wade can attest to this also. I said, listen, I need you guys to do two things for me. The first thing you're going to help us with, this is what I want you guys to do, to determine time of death. Now, because of the time, rigor mortis and all these things, they are actually got no value after so many days. I asked them if they can tell us time of death, not time of death in terms of the hour. If they can tell me if she died the afternoon, the night, or the following morning. I made that quite clear. The doctors informed me that based on the time, it's a bit important. I asked them, I said to them, now, when we go in and we find water in her lungs, those are my exact words. When we go in and we find water in her lungs, I want you guys to be able to tell me or tell us if this water came from a tap pipe or if this water came from the pool. Will you guys be able to determine this?
Who are the guys? These are the guys. Dr. Glenn A. Rudner of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. I check for Dr. Glenn A. Rudner. I'll check again. I'll check again. Chief Medical Examiner of State of Delaware, I said Maryland is Delaware, Gary Collins, and the one who came with the Madhya children, the 20 children from Madhya, Dr. Paul, that Irfan, the first go-to guy was this one, Dr. Paul on the right. They said the family, now the family had requested the guy from Trinidad. They told Darren that's the person who they wanted. And that was since the 25th of April. The PPP never brought that person. The family requested a particular pathologist. The PPP never brought that person. But these three. So the one on the left, Dr. Glenn A. Rodner of Mount Sinai in New York. Okay. Look at this. Dr. Glenn A. Rodner. Do you see this? I hope it's not inverted. When I checked, this is what I found. When I checked, this is what I found. When I checked, this is what I'm finding. And I'm searching right now as I speak to you. I do not see this Glenn A. Rodner creature. The only time I see this individual on the left is when the PPP and the local news show him. I do not see him. The only time I see him mentioned at Mount Sinai Hospital, New York, is when the PPP's news outlets and others show him. So let me see if I missed something. Dr. Glenn A. Rodner. See? Let me show you the evidence. That's why I function. That's why they can't do me anything. Look. All right? See this? That's the picture you're using here. See this? That's the image. What does it say? 3 pathologists team to conduct postmortem on, that's Guyana Chronicle. Guyana Chronicle, right? Guyana Chronicle saying they're supposed to perform postmortem on Adrianna Younge. The Guyana Chronicle. All right, let's see where else I see his face. Okay. Newsroom. This is Newsroom. See that? Newsroom. Newsroom. That's when I see this image again. And this is where they got it from. Good? See? This is where they got the image from. So I'm asking Newsroom to please show us as Guyanese. Chronicle. We own y'all. Your state owns you, owned by us. Find Dr. Glenn A. Rodner of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. Find him. The same person who came here, find him. We need to see who he is. Because he's one who, Ali said, told him, they all agreed. Forensic pathologist. Now, let me help you out with this. A forensic pathologist is one who investigates or conducts an investigation into death relating to a crime. That's why forensic comes in. A pathologist would do an investigation. You die of a heart attack, brain tumor, something. Okay? Something kill you, tumor kill you. Okay, good. But if there is suspicion of a crime, then there will be a forensic autopsy. And the forensic investigation has to do with whether a crime was committed. Finale said that he brought 3 forensic pathologists. In Madia, Dr. Paul came as the forensic pathologist to do what? The children were caged in a building with grills all over, the door was locked, and they were burnt alive. What do you need forensic for? But the same Paul came. And I need to tell him to report us how many autopsies he performed when he came here on those 20 children. Someone said they find him in Oregon. All right, let's see. Maybe he's in Oregon. Let's see if he moved to Oregon. It can't be you. Look at that. Can't be him. Does it look like the same person? Rocking on the microphone? See? No image. As Guyanese, we have a right to ask, where is Dr. Rudner? Where is this report from Dr. Rudner? Did Dr. Rudner sign any report? Collins? Can't hear from him. Paul? Can't hear from him. So 1 month has passed, and there is no forensic pathology or pathologist report in the hand of Adrianna Younge's attorney, Dexter Todd. Never has he seen it. Darren Wade, never has he seen it. So how can you tell me that 3 pathologists came to do a forensic investigation and nobody signed and showed to Darren Wade or showed to Dexter Todd the results? Because that's what you're doing because you're investigating a crime. Can be found. I stopped by 1 month later to request of my Guyanese brothers and sisters to stand at all cost. On Monday, I've been asked to go to Buxton to stand and speak publicly along with the others in reference to justice for this young lady. On Monday, Independence Day, we in Buxton We're not vibes cartel foolishness. We're going to stand as a people. I invite you to stand with me. I'll be speaking. I've been asked to be there as a guest to speak to this matter. And speak I shall. Hopefully they arrest me before. So Yogesh start discussing about over here on Facebook. He says an effing private matter. What the FPP has to do with that? And I'm happy that this roach decided to ask. Yogesh may tell what they have to do with it. Because the PPP is governing at this time the nation along with APNU FC, whether you like it or not, that's a fact, and the squatter from TCI. The PPP is called the administration. The US ambassador told your boss, your handler, your master, who can barely read, very simple. She said very simply, all that you have to do is write to the government of the US requesting that we send FBI agents here to investigate this matter. That's how the PPP has something to do with it. That is how the PPP has something to do with it. The PPP have refused through Irfan Ali and Barjaglio, blatantly refused to have a private investigator or a team of investigators from the Federal Bureau of Investigation come here to investigate the matter. Why? You tell us why. Cause Yogesh, you're done self. Cause some more. Private, there's nothing private about the murder of a child. When Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mandel, stood there, who made him Assistant Commissioner? A private citizen? You're dumb, done self. It cannot be what is a private matter about a child being murdered? The state is not a private entity. The state, the police represent the state. They call law enforcement officers of the state of Guyana. Therefore, if a child is murdered, the police have to investigate that. So it cannot be private, you dummy. I have told you already, the only people left who can support the PPP are those who are dunce. The word is dense, but you're all dunce. Nobody with sense. Have you ever seen any Freddie's not an intellectual. Freddie's a lackey, not an intellectual. And a crony. Norman Brown had invited Freddie Kassoon to speak on a program with me. He never showed up. And you can all understand why. Freddie would never sit to debate me in any forum, especially not in this matter. Never. You are dunce. He's now asking. I'm not reading his comment. Bro, let's say the girl was murdered, it should be. Where's the evidence? Cham, who's more dumb? You are, Champ, it should be. You are dumber than dumb, stupid. That's why you have a forensic investigation to see who murdered her. The evidence was in the pools. Dummy, you're more stupid than the law would even allow you to be stupid. That's evidence. Because nobody would drown and float within 20 hours. You are so stupid you make me want to vomit. It's nauseating. That is called evidence. 2 feet, 2 sets of water here. Where it came from? It was a dry day. Nobody's allowed to go around the pool at that time. They were blocked from going by the pool. So where the 2 feet, where the 2 feet are there? Where it came from? Huh? Yogesh? Yodotish? So let's say it was a murder. We don't have to say it was. Scientifically speaking, no human being can drown and float within 20 hours with a flat stomach. You only float within 20 hours if air is still in your body. I just said that. And here you hop out from under some rock. A big bullfrog with no sense. A mountain crapo. You're looking at evidence. I'm not blocking him. Let him stay here. His mother must see the mistake she made. Your mother must see the great mistake she made. You're not the one. She should have kept her leg closed. She should have shut her legs when she felt you coming, and keep it there for 24 hours or 20 hours, like Adrianna was kept wherever she was. Your mama should have closed her legs and kept you hidden from the world for 20 hours. We'd be in a better place. You buffoon. The evidence is right before your eyes. And you're so blinded by stupidity. I wonder if you get contracts too. Go back under the rock. It's cooler down there. Don't come out here. One month later, Anil Nandlal tells us that he has got some interesting view and advice from someone that the forensic integrity of Adrianna's body would be lost over time or by now. Anil boy, seriously, man, Anil, they find mummies in the Egyptian desert. 2,000 years old. And the scientist was able to find in one of them in the 1800s now, not now. In 1800 and something, they found a cyst in the ovary of an Egyptian mummy. 2,000 years old. The person was not refrigerated. The person wasn't kept in a freezer. The person wasn't protected from rotting. And they could find a cyst on a woman's ovary, a mummy, and you seeing a girl in a fridge. I wonder if it's Dr. Radner told you, Anil, that she would lose the forensic integrity. What has you also concerned about us having another autopsy or 3 more if possible? What's the problem? Huh? Why are you so troubled? 1 month later, all you need to advise Irfan Ali, Anil, is say, listen, let the FBI come in, bring 2 from Royal Canadian Mountain Branch, bring 1 or 2 from Scotland Yard, and here's the kicker for y'all, and let them bring what is called a lie detector. Let them bring a polygraph. Ooh. So somebody found Glenn. Okay, so you found Glenn. Somebody just said they found him. Good. So I wasn't finding him. Somebody found Dr. Glenn Rudner. So we saw the problem. We found Glenn. Dr. Glenn Rudner joins us as a professor in autopsy pathology. Dr. Rudner earned his BS, MSc, and MD degrees from Wayne State University and an anatomic pathology residency at Duke University, followed by fellowship in forensic pathology at the Office of North Carolina Chief Medical Examiner. He then went to do additional postgrad training in surgical anatomy, anatomic pathology at Tulane University, which is, I'm reading his bio here, which was followed by being selected as a Calendar Binford Fellow at the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. In addition to forensic and autopsy pathology, Dr. Run is also interested in ophthalmic pathology. For many years, Dr. Runner competed as a professor runner. Currently, Dr. Runner likes working on restoration of vintage automobiles and racing J-class yachts. So we found him, Glenn Rudner. So this person came here because I wasn't finding him. And thank you for that, because I am about presenting evidence as it comes. So you found Rudner. So, Rodner, Collins, and Paul, 3 pathologists. Caleb is not a pathologist. Caleb said that before we went in there, he knew she drowned. And he told them, they all agreed that she drowned. And he said, and he entreated, he said, when we find water in her lungs, and he repeatedly said, he was sure, when we go in there and we find water, how are you finding it? But you know what? I'll leave you all with this. Because on Monday, I say again, on Monday, I shall be in Buxton, where they're speaking at the Independence. It's not a celebration. Somebody asked me that if I'm going to Georgetown to celebrate independence. I said, celebrate what? I don't celebrate lies. Guyana is not independent. I do not celebrate lies. Guyana is not independent. I don't celebrate falsehood. I'm part of nothing called independence celebration because we're not independent. But let me tell you what bothered me most in all of this. When I saw a video today with an attorney, I think his name is Peters, Selwyn Peters, sitting with Irfan in Region 2. One who is renowned for many cases, election cases and so on. He fought the PPP or for them all the way to the CCJ and all the rest of it. I think he would have been a part of that. And he spoke about Adrianna's situation, by the way. And to see this fellow so comfortably in the company of Irfan, who only a few weeks ago said he would not belabor. He would not belabor the point. Not belabor, which is a term. He wouldn't belabor. When he was asked about bringing the FBI, he said, we did everything we could do. His attitude, his demeanor, his total this pleasure being asked a question. So you could find him. Let's see if this is the one. I'm not sure. I think this is it.
I want to say to the residents that we're going to ensure with support, independent support, that this matter is dealt with professionally and
another one. I think that's another one. I was looking for the one where he was so disrespectful and dismissive when he was asked about whether they're going to bring. I think it's this one.
President, with regards to the Adrianna Younge case,
no,
we know that
I'm not
Will the FBI be asked to assist?
I'm not going to belabor this point anymore. Everything that I've committed to in the case, we brought in the independent pathologists. They have done their work. There's an independent investigator in. I've done what I said I would have done. The political handlers are now at work aggressively. Let the political handlers deal with what they
So
want.
the FBI will be asked, in addition to Mr. McCutcheon.
See the attitude? He has done all he's committed to, which does not include bringing the FBI, which includes bringing a retiree, a retired person who has yet to say what he came and discovered. As a front cleared his throat. He's done with that. And the mother is pleading, begging for justice. A father is trying his best to have justice for his child. If I'm done with that, what bothered me, and so we can speak to this, is to see you sitting there in Region 2, celebrating whatever you are, being comfortable in your friend's presence. I have a right to say what I feel. And so do you, Selwyn. But it concerns me. Because Irfan cannot even eat a pylori around me. Or invite me to eat a pylori, a bara, a egg ball. Never. No. No. I would like to know Selwyn's thought process, because instead of saying that you've joined Dexter Todd in fighting for justice for this girl, you've enjoined yourself to this matter. And you are highlighting where Irfan has shown disregard for solving a crime. You chilling with your friend? Nah. No. 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 Those things make me think very carefully. With that said, brothers and sisters, do not give up the fight. The PPP has an expectation of us as Guyanese. That is that we get upset and it peters out. It just fades out and things go back to normal. Guyana must not be normal for as long as we don't know what happened to Adrianna. Guyana must not be normal for as long as we do not have people in chains and in jail, sentenced to death if possible for what they did to this girl. Guyana must not be normal. It's not be business as usual. There has been no report, none. And as an attorney, I expect Selwyn Peters to say, what's going on here? How could you have 3 pathologists and not even one signature shown to the public to say they've signed this agreement? No. Adrianna is my daughter, and I will fight for justice until we get it. I will fight. Guyanese do not give up. They expect you to quit. They expect you to just say, yeah, all right, then we lose this one and move on. We are not moving on. When we go to the polls in a few months, you walk into those polling booths. Do not forget Adrianna. Don't forget Keon Forgery, who a police shot blank in the eye and has yet to be charged. Don't forget them. Don't forget our in Boston, who they lied and said this man had some gun and pointing gun, and only to find out no such thing happened. Don't forget Quinton, who they said fire the gun. When they checked the gun, it never worked. The gun is a sham that was planted on that boy. Don't forget. But more than all of them, do not forget Adrianna. When you go into that polling station, to that polling booth, the booth, when you walk into that booth, remember this image. When you walk in that booth to vote, remember this image. Remember it. Please don't forget it. When you walk in there, I beg you, please do not forget that. Don't forget it. Remember the Henry boys, and no stone was supposed to be left unturned. And when an independent investigator came from Colombia, I think it was Colombia, Ben and others said, no, you can't get the clothes. I think it was Ropes and Men one of them. Said, no, we can't give you any clothes to get any DNA from this because you didn't come through the right channel. I don't forget these things. You shouldn't forget them either. They're trying desperately, as far as I'm aware, to get Adrianna out of the country. We hope that her body makes it out. Do well. We shall not forget. Bye. Okay, so hold on. Nudhub said yes, even after the initial autopsy, it's still possible to examine Adrianna's body to gather additional clues about the time of death. If the body has been preserved, example, refrigerated or embalmed. However, there are important limitations and time sensitivities. Thank you for that comment, because it is true. You don't need to have an autopsy to know the time of death. We have video evidence, which is acceptable in many cases. Okay? You have videos to show that there was not rigor mortis when she was in the pool. Because when she came out, her legs were together. When she was in, her legs were apart. So we don't need to have any autopsy for that. We could see that your joints don't move, your hip flexors don't move if rigor mortis steps in. So we don't need an autopsy for that. That's common sense. We can have videos to show that. Thank you. Do well.